Good evening. Welcome to Satellite Showtime. I'm Pat Olson. This is the site of the biggest satellite TV trade show to date, the MGM Grand Hotel in Las Vegas. It's the Space STTI 1985 Las Vegas show. And in case you weren't able to attend, we'll take you there when we come back.
Welcome to the world of satellite TV opportunities, the magazine that brings you inside information on successful marketing and sales techniques, details the latest in new technology, and lets you see how other dealers increase their sales and profits.
Satellite TV Opportunities magazine is the marketing techniques magazine for satellite TV dealers. Our single purpose is to help dealers increase their sales and their profits through improved marketing techniques.
Satellite TV Opportunities offers insight into the latest trends in marketing, profiles thriving businesses, and surveys what TVRO buyers are really after. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-922-2812. For $25, you get a full year's subscription to Satellite TV Opportunities, a magazine full of new ideas that will help your business thrive. 1-800-922-2812. Call today. MasterCard and Visa accepted.
Up to 14,000 people attended the Space STTI 1985 Las Vegas show. That's a record crowd for the annual event. It was held March 31st and April 1st and 2nd at the MGM Grand Hotel on the Strip that you see here. When show participants weren't busy exhibiting their products or attending meetings, they could take in the sights of Las Vegas. There was never a dull moment. Las Vegas is a city that never sleeps. People weren't sleeping either. Topics of discussion at the MGM included scrambling, zoning, and new legislation. Chuck Hewitt of Space talked to me about two new bills introduced in Congress.
Yeah, I was very excited this week. We had two bills that were introduced that we support. One bill, which was introduced by Greg Judd, calls for a 2-year moratorium on scrambling. It basically says that until the marketplace has worked out how everyone will have access to programming, that scrambling shouldn't take effect, and that's a 2-year moratorium. And secondly, a bill introduced by Tozen, Rose, Whitaker, and McGuire, calling for a mechanism to ensure immediate access to scrambled signals, to ensure a competitive price, and that there'll be no monopolies in the provision of the hardware equipment and/or the software, the programming itself.
Hewitt went on to tell about a new zoning resolution.
It's a resolution introduced by Senator Goldwater, and the exciting thing about that is that although it has not passed the Senate, the FCC just this week issued proposed rules to preempt local zoning. And they're out for 30 days of what they call 30 days for people to submit opinions and pro and con against it. But it was a 5-0 vote, which means that they're feel very strongly about these rules. So we think we have a real good chance for local ordinances to be what's called preempted by the FCC. Now that doesn't solve all of our problems. If the FCC does preempt, what it in essence says, you cannot ban the use of satellite earth stations. You can't unreasonably ban them. We still have to go and define reasonable in certain uses of satellite earth stations.
It took 4 months to plan the Space STTI Las Vegas 1985 show, but the producer of it says it was well worth the work.
After 4 months of preparation, this one has developed into the largest show of this type that we've ever produced.
4 months of preparation.
Well, that's what it takes to put one of these things on.
And you're also putting on the Tulsa show?
Yes, we'll immediately swing into full gear on getting that one ready for the June appearance on June 21, 22, and 23. And we'll only have about 3 months to spend on it, but we're already into it.
What are you looking forward to in the Tulsa show?
Well, actually, we've had comments that a lot of the people thought it might be a regional show. There's no way we can have a regional show anymore. Anytime you're in mid-America, like Tulsa is located, and pulling from the equal distance from all the corners of the country, it's going to be a major show, and it already shows that. It proves that. We're almost sold out.
At the Las Vegas show, where we're located right now, what things have surprised you the most?
Well, the bad weather the first 3 days surprised me most of all, because Las Vegas is usually pretty nice here at this time of the year. But the 3 days of the show, we must have started living right, and it's turned into a beautiful, weather-wise, situation that helps us a lot with the outside. Now, on the inside, we're going to have upwards of 12 to 14,000 total attendance, which again is the largest we've ever held, and it represents people from every corner of the world. We have more foreign attendees this show than we've ever had.
Why would you encourage someone to come to a show?
Oh, simply because I feel and have felt for a number of years, and being in this about as long as anybody, the past 5 years, that the industry itself is a great opportunity to make a business career. I would say 1 out of 5 people at this show have not been in the business at all, or coming in and looking forward to making a living out of it. And with all the work that they can do in learning the game and all, it's a great opportunity.
Great. Any other thoughts as we close?
Nothing to think of except we look forward to seeing you in Tulsa.
Thanks, Rick Sneringer, who is the producer of the Las Vegas show. Coming up on Satellite Showtime, a preview of the Tulsa Satellite Show.
For a limited time only, you can receive Channel Guide for a special reduced rate. For just $9, you will receive 8 weeks of Channel Guide, a month of Galaxy One magazine, and the all-new 1985 Whole Earth Station catalog. That's a $20 value for just $9. Then close check and address, and you'll start receiving the original grid format for satellite TV. Due to this low price, no phone orders may be taken. Write today. Channel Guide, Department 808A, P.O. Box 1633, Englewood, Colorado, 80150. Do it today.
Now we'd like to bring you another segment of our special panel discussion, Satellite Preview 85.
And we're probably going to discuss now what the piece that is the most dramatic, Gary, and for a home satellite owner, and certainly the most visible, the antenna. You're operating in Wisconsin, which is probably not known as being a place for hot satellite signals. You're pretty far north. What size antennas do you sell?
Primarily, most of ours are 9.5 foot or 10 foot. We do sell some 7.5 and not any smaller than that.
Why?
The signal drops off too much. In our area, there's not a great deal of difference, let's say, between a 5 foot dish as far as cost and a 7 or 8 foot dish. So they would rather, we have people go to the bigger dish.
Okay, so you're in basically a lower signal area up here in Wisconsin, and you're saying the minimum size that you're really comfortable with is 7.5 foot?
That's correct.
Okay. Obviously, in the center of the country, in the hotter areas, that number would change. And for instance, in Colorado, 6 foot dishes may be their bottom limit out there, perhaps even smaller. There are a myriad of different kinds of antennas out there. In a recent survey that we completed at STV magazine, we found that no one manufacturer had any significant market share. The number one manufacturer of antennas we found had a 10% market share. The biggest single category was miscellaneous. 20% of the antennas were miscellaneous. By miscellaneous, I mean local origin antennas. A small shop builds 20, 30, 40, 50 a month and distributes them in a 100-mile radius. There's no big name in antennas with, 30, 40% of the market nationally. How do you choose antennas? What's your criteria?
Well, of course, weather's the big item that we're fighting here. We've sold primarily solid dishes, stainless steel in particular. We haven't sold very many fiberglass. The stainless steel has worked well for us with being in a dairy state. We've sold a lot more mesh dishes lately. We, again, were kind of testing the waters and sold a few because we didn't know how they would hold up, and we've gone through this winter, which has been a harsh winter with snow and ice and high winds, and they've held up well. So aesthetically, people like the mesh, and we're selling a lot of the mesh now.
Let's put John Call on the spot and ask him. If we may remember, he wasn't a real strong proponent of mesh dishes. John, you're now manufacturing a mesh dish.
Yes, sir, we are.
Why
are
the change?
we doing that?
Why the change?
I think I could go back a little bit. One of the first times that I saw the more of the new generation of the mesh antennas. In fact, we were mentioning it last night. Flyer came in through the mail, and the secretaries, my wife was in the office, and she said, "Boy, we really like the looks of that." And I'm going, "Oh, I don't know," because I was sold, have been sold on a solid antenna for performance and accuracy, and I really don't back away from that. I still believe that that's probably the most accurate way to make an antenna. But for the mass transportation problem and inventory problem, you can't put an antenna, a one-piece 10-foot, 9-foot antenna in a box that looks consumer-friendly. And with the mesh antenna, it's UPS shippable. You can package it so it looks professionally packaged, and consumers accept that more. I think distributors accept that more. Aesthetically, the women who are a good, strong force and what makes the final decision like the looks of it better. I think there's maybe a little bit of trade-off that some folks like it as a status symbol and they'll put it out in the front yard, and aesthetically that doesn't make that much of a difference. But the mesh itself, because of its UPS shippability, and the new generation being much easier to assemble, than they were in the past, and the force that we had put on us was from the standpoint, the antennas that we were selling was on a steady increase from what we had been doing with the solid antenna, but we saw that market there. We first tested the waters with some other mesh people and worked with them a little bit to supply some of the dealers and distributors, and they really liked the response from it. And we looked at wanting to manufacture one ourselves with the new style being much cleaner. And we looked at wanting to do it in such a way that that it was redesigned a little bit in order to keep the cost down. And with those factors, a cost-competitive product that functions well and UPS shippability, I think, is some of the key reasons why it's caught on the way it has. In our own case, the sales will be, you know, staggering compared to what the solid antenna was. And, you know, I ask all the rest of you why that is. It's probably a myriad of reasons. The aesthetic and the shippability and consumer packaging, I think, all play a part of it. Did I get around that pretty good? So.
Yeah, you managed to sidestep that one quite nicely. But no, I think the point is that it's market driven, it's user driven. Mm-hmm. People are demanding mesh dishes, so you have to come up with a mesh dish. In all honesty, it's because of the double curve on a mesh antenna. It's a one-piece solid antenna will, for the same size, be more accurate if it's made right. And I don't think anybody can dispute that. But with the stronger signal of the satellites, improvements in the receiver design and the temperature dropping on the LNAs, much more forgiving than what it used to be. And so the giving of the aesthetics of the new antenna, they perform on a par on the same size antenna, very close. Gary, you've installed both, and
that's right.
I think they're very similar.
For the average, well, it's just as good. The picture, I don't know how you achieve that, but because the one piece it has to be more accurate, but when it's all said and done, the consumer's very happy with it. It's a very good picture.
Hans, Luxor is working towards having a system. Mm-hmm. Any plans for antennas?
Yes, there's only one component we are missing right now in the full system, that's the antenna, and that is a must for us during 1985 to package the dish with the electronic components. So that will happen this year. I can't tell you when, but it's going to happen.
Would you follow the obvious trend towards mesh dishes and go with a mesh dish?
Yes, and I agree with John here. You can also see here in all these zoning discussions that little councils and communities do have a preference for mesh dishes. I don't really know why. It might be the aesthetics here, but we see it. So yes, mesh dish, yes.
I think the aesthetics are definitely key, and then I can back up John's story. Back in 1980, when my wife saw her first mesh dish, her attitude changed completely. She came to me and said, "Hey, I wouldn't mind having one of those in my yard."
There is one thing, though, that I would like to address here, and that's some better discipline, perhaps house cleaning in the industry, and that regarding dish sizes. I think it is detrimental to our course here to try to promote small dishes to an extent that we are doing right now, when we know that in some areas they will not work, and they will not give the consumer the flexibility and the availability of all satellites and all channels. I appreciate what Gary says here about the sizes he's choosing. That tells me that he's serious, professional in his doing his business. But I see too much of small dishes being promoted, and I think we will get that back one day or later, because these transponders up there are weak and they will not become stronger. They are aging, and we know that.
Isn't it valid, though, that Galaxy, for instance, is a particular strong satellite in this country? Okay.
That's 1 out of 15.
However, isn't there a viable market for a Galaxy-only receive system to get the 24 transponders on Galaxy, in which, in virtually all parts of the country, a 6-foot dish will give you good reception on Galaxy only? Fixed dish, no motor drive, low-cost system.
Yes. I agree with you, but I do not really see in advertising that this is what we tell the public, we tell the consumer. You can get a small dish, but you will only have the access. We don't say that. We say, I have had people that are manufacturing motorhomes coming to us and say, well, we want to buy your receivers. We are equipping our motorhomes with a 24-inch dish. And I ask them, what are you going to watch? I don't know if they know that.
It is a problem. John?
Yeah, the point between the cost factor, Gary mentioned it a little bit earlier. He said that the cost between a 6-foot and 7.5 or 8 foot, you know, there's not a lot of cost difference. There really is not. You've got all the same electronics, other than if it wouldn't have the positioner on it, but systems could be, you know, hand moved or an actuator added later on. The cost of a stationary mount when you're mass producing the mounts is not a tremendous amount of difference in cost. In the size-wise, to add that 1.5 foot on the perimeter of the outside of the antenna is not that much. I mean, I don't know if really the cost savings. We have a 5.5 foot antenna, and it sells well in Colorado and in that area, and it works fine. But a lot of those folks the idea was for it to be a fixed antenna, and every one of them turn around and they use it to track anyway. So I don't know if it's the cost savings is that dramatic, and I think is what you're going to find most every one of them a month or 2 months after they have it and they watch those few transponders. They're going to want to move it around and play with it and get it on other transponders.
You think the temptation is too much for them just to sit on one satellite?
It's fine. It's fine when it comes out of the box and you have a great weekend watching it, and then pretty soon, you know, they wonder what's on those other satellites, right. And they're going to go out and monkey with it. And I think you could have the spin-off of a negative reaction from the consumer when he has that system and the dealer sold it and it was a good cost or a good price, and he's got the system at home. All of a sudden, he goes to his neighbors that he's pushing a button and it's going to a different satellite, and he's saying, boy, I kind of got had. Maybe, maybe not. I think there's applications, the motorhome thing, we've been approached by them, and in certain areas it's better than not having anything. But for the cost difference, and they have a system that you can add on the positioner and a better receiver later on. I think if they want to save costs in the system, you go without a positioner or a low-cost receiver. But don't skip on the antenna. That's one of the hardest things to change later. And that extra few feet on there is not that cost prohibitive.
Lloyd Covens, who will be on the second half of the show, would probably have a good argument for that. Lloyd publishes a programming guide for Galaxy only.
We sell a lot of 5.5 footers in that area, in Colorado. And I'm not backing away from the fact that there's an application there, but I guess what I'm saying that there is not a tremendous cost difference, given the same type of equipment that you put with it. If you put a bigger antenna, the temptation would be to probably remote control satellite controller, and all this would drive the cost up. And if you go probably with a Galaxy only dish, you're going to go with an inexpensive receiver that's a tunable receiver, and so that helps drive the cost down. That's where you see the inexpensive packages or lower cost packages. But I just don't know that. I don't know what that market is. I know that it's for us the small antenna would be the smallest market for our product. Is the least amount of antennas we sell is the 5.5 foot, even though they do work good in those areas.
Gary, would you sell a Galaxy-only system up here? Is there any market for it, and would you sell it if there was a market for it?
We haven't found a market for it yet. We don't believe that there is much of a market. There may be possibly right in the city a few people that perhaps maybe the other satellites are blocked by trees. You know, there could be, but it's a very minor market, in my opinion anyway. I just would rather sell them a bigger system, give them all the satellites, and then I know they're going to be happy.
I think one other thing you look at is even on Galaxy, given especially the area up here where you can put on Galaxy and get a acceptable picture, but you got some transponders that aren't as good as the others, and after they watch it for a while, they can come back to the dealer and want to know, you know, to make it better. You're right on the edge when you put it in, and if you have any deterioration or the antenna moves just slightly or something changing the connections, they get a little corroded or something like that, it pulls the signal down. And I think probably we're more sensitive because we're further out of the better signal. So, you know, I guess maybe if we were right in the center part where it worked great when you walked away from it, maybe my feelings would be different than that.
You'll see more of that special panel discussion next week. Now this.
Are you confused about satellite programming guides? Are you tired of monthly inaccurate guides that are big and bulky and about as much fun to use as a city phone book? How about tabloids with hard-to-read print, incomplete movie listings that are about as easy to use as a road map? Or newspaper guides with confusing grids that fall apart in your hands? There is an alternative. Onset, the easy-to-read, easy-to-use weekly programming guide with more movies and sports. Best of all, Onset is only $39. That's right, 52 issues for only $39. But don't take our word for it. We'll send you a free copy of Onset, and you can judge for yourself. And if you're a dealer, ask about our dealer program. Make your customers happy and make money. Call Onset now. Toll-free 1-800-438-2020 or write Onset, Box 2347, Shelby, North Carolina, 28150. Onset, you've seen the rest, now try the best.
Hi, Joe Kelch here with the Caltronics video newsletter from the Las Vegas show. The Caltronics booth behind me, and a really fine show coming your way this evening. And now Peter Beeman, Caltronics Regional Manager out in Boulder, Colorado, with a couple of fine guests.
Thank you, Joe. Today I have some very special people that I'd like to introduce to you today from Caltronics Rocky Mountain. With me today is Bob and Jonathan, Rob and Maggie and Joanna Suber from Steamboat Springs, Colorado. They've been Caltronics dealers in the Rocky Mountain region for over a year, and in just a few minutes I'm going to explain to you why they're such special people for Caltronics Rocky Mountain.
As you all well know, Caltronics' home office is located in Wisconsin. Wisconsin's known for some nasty weather in the fall, winter and spring time of the year. And especially in the fall and winter, a lot of times this rainy weather will freeze or get inside the jack shaft itself and freeze inside of the actuator. And that's when problems become very serious. To prevent this from happening, we've got a weather boot available to you dealers and distributors to take care of that problem. This boot has a vent at the front and also one at the bottom. Let me show you one that is not installed yet. Here's the vent at the top and the vent at the bottom. You merely slide the unit, the weather boot, over the jack shaft. This part goes over the external tube, and the front piece over the internal tube. And as the actuator extends, the preformed pleats unfold. And as it contracts, it goes back to its preformed shape once again. It's held in place with some specially designed wire ties to prevent any water from getting in around the shaft cylinder itself. And with this piece in place, this will prevent any rain from getting inside of the actuator tube itself and preventing any costly service call. Now, to make the system complete and totally impervious to any water intrusion, we also have motor boot covers as well. They also have the vent on the top side, and all these vents on the top side, they are curved down, and if you can see real close, so there's a small hole there to allow air to enter in through the system to prevent any condensation from occurring. The bottom vent is an excellent place for your cables to exit, to prevent also that by that way you aren't having to pierce another hole and allowing water to penetrate in through that hole. With these two units installed together, it will eliminate almost entirely any water intrusion into the system of the actuator. Call up any of the numbers listed on the screen throughout the program, or write the numbers down because these lines are busy during the program. And for future reference, also it's convenient to have that number listed. At twice the cost, these boots are worth it. Try one out. I think you'll like one. Thank you very much.
Bob and Maggie from Steamboat Springs, Colorado, have a store that is called Front Row Center. Now, Bob and Maggie started with Coltronics a year ago, and I have a couple questions that I would like to ask them, and I'd like them to share a few of their ideas with all of you watching today, in hopes that you can get a little better insight as to some of the things that might work better for you or some things that maybe won't work so good for you. And I think they have some wonderful ideas to share. Now, Bob, we met last year at the Space and STTI show in Las Vegas a year ago at this time. And at that time, you were a little bit frustrated with the industry, weren't quite sure what kind of direction you were going to take. Isn't that true?
That's correct.
Yes, and at that time, we talked about different ideas, the things that we could do as a group to get together and help business. Now, how many systems in 1983 exactly did you sell?
Let me ask the bookkeeper over here. She's the one that keeps count of all that for you.
17 systems.
That's right.
In the year 1983. And then in 1984, after coming on the Coltronics team, as it were, how many systems did you move in year ending 1984 from one show to the end of the next show?
We should be well over 100.
100 systems.
100 systems.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Well, when someone has a growth of that magnitude in 1 year, there's a lot of different things that have to contribute to that growth. And I would like you to share a few of those ideas with us. What do you think made you successful in 1984? You can throw all kinds of ideas out at us here. But number one, what is one of the top things that you think made you successful?
I'd say the first thing that makes you successful is to have a product that you yourself personally can believe in and have faith in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know that it is technically competent in itself, and it will produce the desired results that you wish to achieve, because the satellite, as you well know, is extremely competitive right now.
Don't we all know that?
What we have attempted to do was to establish this product with a dollar value that was comfortable for the average person, and produce the results. Everyone talks about studio quality pictures and perfection.
Yeah, we hear that term a lot.
Yes, we do, and I think it's a well-worn phrase in many, many instances, but we do strive to provide the best quality picture that we can for the dollar value.
Sure.
And the other side of the coin is that you have to be honest with your customers and provide service. If something is wrong, you tell your customer it's wrong. If you've screwed up, you tell your customer you've screwed up. It's awfully easy when you do have good product integrity, and I think product integrity goes a little further than just the individual unit itself that you're dealing with. It goes to the backing or the support from the manufacturer, from the distributor, from you. I'll exercise that option to thank you for the support, because it certainly has made
big difference.
Oh, not only a big difference, I'd say that it was a large stepping stone to the success that we have experienced in our business. And if we're successful, you're successful.
Well, sure, that's what we want.
And we want it also.
Yes. Well, Bob, you touched on the subject of service earlier, and I'd like you to go a little more into that. How strongly do you think service is important to a successful satellite dealer such as yourself?
I'd say without it, you'll fail. Yeah. There's just no way that you're going to conduct a successful business unless you do, in fact, provide service for the customer. I'd say our most frustrating moments are the fact that we do not have that much service or that much failure out in the field. But when they do occur, you may have 3 or 4 backed up, or even 5, or say half a dozen, and trying to cover them all, because everyone's priority is the same. It's number one.
Sure.
And let's face it, they have spent good dollars for a system of entertainment. And entertainment is not dead air time for them on their TV.
That's right. Yes.
And many of the people we service do not have adequate off-the-air television. There's actually maybe 1 channel that's slightly watchable, to maybe 3 that are of fairly good quality, and that's it. Mostly translator, because we're in the mountains and it's rough for them to receive quality television. So they are highly dependent on this system that they put in. And we have had customers, Peter, that I was thinking of Ken and Judy. They were supposed to go on a vacation last year, and they came in and invested their vacation money in the satellite system. They've been in the store on numerous occasions, and Jim and Judy, I said Ken and Judy, Jim and Judy, we have two sets of customers that are referrals of one another. But they said that had they known that they would be providing their family with such good entertainment, that they would have done it much sooner than when they had committed.
Sure.
So they, you know, it's a nice feeling to see people that are deriving this much out of your efforts. And believe me, there is a lot of effort, as you well know. It's a 7-day a week. And,
don't we all know
yes.
that? Well, I think a lot of the people that are watching probably don't know what Steamboat Springs, Colorado is all about. What is the population in Steamboat Springs?
Approximately
5,000.
5,000.
5,000 people.
In Steamboat.
In Steamboat. And you service an area of how many people?
Oh, probably 20,000 more or less, about 60 miles.
60 miles of service area. That's a big area. And it's, I know, and many of the people that are watching today probably don't know, Steamboat Springs is about 4 hours from Denver, Colorado, up in the mountains, and I mean way up in the mountains. We experienced some very harsh weather up in Steamboat Springs. When the snow falls, it doesn't stop for a while, and it piles up and so forth. And in an area like that, we know that a product that is made with high quality standards, very durable, is very important. And as something that we had talked about over a year ago now, just exactly a year ago, was that very subject. And I think that's one of the reasons you chose to go with the Caltronics antennas, and it is the stainless steel, and you sell exclusively the Caltronics stainless steel antennas. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yes. So I'm hoping, and we believe at Caltronics, that that is part of the reason to your success, that you have a product that can withstand those elements, and that is, it's tough up there. I don't know. How many inches of snow did you get last year?
Last year wasn't a banner year.
It was a wonderful year.
Yeah. Yes,
just
really
right. Just right.
About a couple of hundred inches, probably.
A couple of hundred inches of snow. That's good weather.
You know, Peter saying...
I just want to comment.
All right, shoot.
One
Go
more
ahead.
comment here, Bob. That we have people that come in and they've been down the street maybe looking, and we really feel we're price competitive with our dish and with Caltronics dish, but the difference, they'll say, well, I know that the stainless steel is better, and it didn't come from us. It came from somebody else who told them so.
Sure.
And so our reputation is just growing and growing as being
great.
the only stainless steel.
And a lot of your business then is from referrals, is that correct?
At least
what
80%.
percent? 80%?
About 80% are referrals.
That's phenomenal.
Cuts down our advertising costs tremendously.
Isn't that nice? Well, at this time, I'd like to explain to the people why Bob and Maggie are with me today. As we stated before, 1 year ago, they started with Qualtronics as exclusive Qualtronics dealers. These are very special people. And Bob and Maggie, for the year of 1984, have been chosen as the Qualtronics Dealer of the Year for 1984 in the Rocky Mountain region. And we want to congratulate them, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time out to sit down and talk to us and to share some of your ideas and the things that have worked so well for you. And I do have to make an apology. We have a very, I told this story, we have a very nice plaque that's all prepared and ready to go, and we've heard this 1,000 times in this industry. It isn't here yet, but trust me, it's in UPS. It's on the way.
The check is in the mail.
The check is in the mail. So Bob, I want to thank you for taking the time, and congratulations for being the 1984 Dealer of the Year in the Rocky Mountain region. And Maggie, thank you too so much.
Peter.
It's our
All
pleasure.
right. Yes.
Thank you for your support.
And I hope we get a chance to do a lot more business in 1985, and let's see if we can just keep right on climbing and see the progression move right along.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you so
Peter.
much.
Thank you, Peter.
And now our show comes to an end for this evening from Las Vegas.
More of Satellite Showtime right after this.
Want to know more about satellite TV? Then go to the source for product reviews and how-tos. We're on the road and out in space and sometimes in very cold places with features and technical reports. It's all in Satellite TV. That's only $19.95 for 12 big issues of STV magazine. Call now, 1-800-438-2020, and get this LCD calendar clock free with your subscription. That's 12 big issues of STV magazine and the clock for only $19.95. The number again is 1-800-438-2020. 1-800-438-2020. Call now.
Now here's Tom Graham of Electronic Age magazine.
Hello, this is Tom Graham of Electronic Age coming to you from Electronic Houseboat of Frank Ogden, who is known locally in Vancouver as Dr. Tomorrow, and has more ink on him from all the media than I've ever been able to see any one man in Canada, especially considering he's predicting the demise of the printed word as we know it today, which I have also predicted, by the way. Frank Ogden himself is quite an amazing electronic entrepreneur, and I must confess, when I first saw the man on a panel talking, I thought, gee, I'd like to interview him, but obviously he's an American from the way he's talking, and I won't be able to get him after the convention is over. And lo and behold, I find that he is in this electronic houseboat in Cole Harbor, Vancouver, at the foot of Beach Street. And I'd like to have Frank say a few words about what his views of the future are, as he did for the magazine. Thank you, Frank.
Well, good morning. Well, Tom, there's a lot happening, as everybody's aware, in the electronic field, and I think that the next few years are going to be so explosive that they're going to make the last few look like the age of tranquility.
Mm-hmm. I can concur to that myself.
What's happening in the satellite field by the end of 1986, when Expo closes here in Vancouver, we should have 1,000 channels available to the citizens that want to receive it. And it isn't going to matter what regulations any government puts in the way. The technology is setting the laws today, not governments.
Right. This is true. In fact, I know in Canada when anything is deemed not to be illegal or something, they generally change the laws to make it legal. Let's hope that actually they have done that with this back in 1983 with their first announcement, and it's just a matter now of convincing the powers that be that they shouldn't scramble signals, but they'll be replaced by other satellites that won't scramble them, so there won't be any slowdown in the number of channels, still an increase in reception.
Yeah, even if there's 1,000 channels and they scramble 10 or 20%, you're still going to have 800 channels. And also, because they're the ones that are proving the most profitable, they're the ones that are going to survive in the future. Right. But this whole government regulation thing, it doesn't just apply to satellites. It also applies to things like cellular radio and the new personal radio communication system. The PRSC is so much more better value for the dollar than cellular radio, although admittedly cellular is technically better, that I think you're going to see the mass of the population swing to the other. And that's another way to bypass the old-fashioned phone system.
Oh yes, this is the wave of the future. You cannot hold the future back. As much as they will try, it's upon us and it's going to just steamroll.
Another thing that's going to happen, no matter how much pressure is put on for any one country to issue some form of censorship, even if it's on pornography, even if Canada and the United States put a ban on pornography being transmitted off their transponders, you would see transponders of convenience pop up in the skies, like satellites of convenience, very similar to the ship's registry of convenience that now has 90% of the world's shipping going through Panama or Liberia. When the obstacles are put in the way of any new technology, the technology will find a way around it, over it, through it, or dissolve the blockage.
Thank you very much, and this is Tom Graham of Electronic Age. We'll be back with you again.
I'm talking now with Billy Presnell, who is the Director of Sales at the Tulsa Convention Bureau. And Billy, could you tell me a little bit about the Tulsa show coming up?
The Tulsa show is scheduled for June 21 to 23. It's a summer show, and we're really excited about them coming.
And it's sponsored by Space and STTI.
Yes.
And there's a little tape you have to show about that show. Will you tell us about the tape?
We have a videotape that talks about Tulsa. It's a summer show, so we're excited about the group and everyone coming to Tulsa in the summer because there are an awful lot of things to do in Oklahoma in the summer.
You're here in one of America's most friendly, easy to get to, and remarkable convention cities. Tulsa, in the middle of America. An easy and relatively short trip for the average delegate. A city in which facilities, friendliness, fun, and frolic go together with efficiency and accessibility. You've got our guarantee of a genuine first-class howdy kind of full service that we've been told is a tough act to follow. If your meeting will fit Tulsa, we'll see that Tulsa is fit and fitting for you. In Tulsa, our sales pitch ends when you're on your way home. Tulsa's rustic pioneer tradition and its romance are the stuff for grand stories and classic films. Created beneath an oak tree by Creek Indians looking for a home, Tulsa was made legendary by what lay beneath these native oaks. Young, colorful oil tycoons carved a brilliant city with their black gold riches. Tulsa's tycoons today are more diversified in their portfolios, and they office higher up in more contemporary settings. But the spirit of the likes of J. Paul Getty pervades the incredibly ornate Art Deco office showplaces of the 1920s. They and the spacious, ornate homes built by those who struck it rich are visible reflections of a grand era. This preponderance of early oil money forced a sense of sophistication that settled everlastingly the dust of an earlier era. But Tulsa still has enough of the West in its heart to let you stride into one of the biggest Western stores you've ever seen and find out how real Tulsa cowpokes put on their boots and how they get their hats just so. You might begin to look more like you own a couple of quarter horses, but that's okay. This is prime quarter horse country. Tulsa is rich, varied, and beautiful. Its relative compactness makes getting around simple and enjoyable. Oh, sure, you can get lost in Tulsa, but usually only because you want to. Speaking of which, you may just want to do that, and Tulsa's warm weather climate, natural beauty, and amenities give you the opportunities to enjoy. Tulsa takes pride in its proper upbringing and its strong mid-American cultural values. Nowhere else can you get nose-to-nose with 18 of the 23 original sculptures wrought by Frederick Remington. The famed Thomas Gilcrease Institute of American History and Art also contains the world's largest collection of the works of Western artist Thomas Moran and a major gallery of paintings and bronzes by Charles M. Russell. This legacy of a Tulsa oil man, a must-stop for any tour. Another legacy of oil man Wade Phillips is his Italian Renaissance villa and 23-acre estate, now Philbrook Art Center. This is the West, as viewed from the perspective of the Indian. Indian basketry, Indian pottery, bold, striking contemporary Indian art, plus 2 sizable collections of Italian Renaissance paintings and of Chinese jades. Oral Roberts University campus and the world-famous Evangelist City of Faith Medical Center demand a visit, if for no other reason than to view this show-stopping architecture. With a half-dozen theater companies, there's always a live stage. You can relax to Rodgers and Hammerstein and A Night Under the Stars with Discoveryland's production of Oklahoma, a summer evening delight. The New York Times described Tulsa Ballet Theater Company as technically astounding. And the successful seasons of the Tulsa Opera and the Tulsa Philharmonic are perennially popular. In this sporty and sport-loving city, all variety of balls are kicked and tossed, bounced and missed, or blasted over the fence. We've got drillers, hurricanes, and titans. There's rugby at River Parks, polo at Southern Hills, and tennis and racquetball just about anywhere you turn. If you're up to it, you can jog, skate, or stroll through the trees along the beautiful River Parks. In this grand people place near downtown, you can exercise, cross over the bridge, climb a sculpture, rent a bike, or catch a ride and relax. Tulsans like their breakfast, lunch, and dinner, plus entertainment on the side. We've got faster than fast, calm and quick, rudimentary and relaxed, healthy and natural, thick or thin, simple as a sandwich, smart and sassy, cash and carry, private and posh, plus elegant and absolutely exquisite. Tulsa's menu is as long and varied as its extensive wine list. Savor the flavor. You'll love it. We promise. From candle lights to bright lights, oh, the world turns swiftly when the sun goes down. Turn in or turn it on. It's up to you. South Side, Brookside, and downtown's Moonlight Side. Each offers its own brand of after-dusk frills. Some of the world's finest rock musicians started in Tulsa clubs. The famed Tulsa sound, a blend of rock, blues, and country, still gets equal time. And of course, there's always bluegrass, with plenty of country to share. If festivals and special events make your day, Tulsa has them year-round. From chili cook-offs and bluegrass festivals to frog jumping contests, spring flings, river runs, the International Finals Rodeo, the Gilcrease Rendezvous, the International Mayfest on downtown's spacious pedestrian mall, fireworks displays, one of the nation's biggest state fairs, the annual Labor Day raft race down the Arkansas River, and Oktoberfest, a robust, frothy, fun time for all. One step past the food, glitter, and fun is distinctive and multitudinous shopping pleasures. Fashions and gifts are displayed in contemporary air-conditioned malls, convenient to convention hotels and facilities. You can even take a spin on the ice. If you're in a shopping mood, chances are, if you want it, Tulsa's got it. And we're here to help you find it, at your service. With superb accommodations, excellent food, great fun, friendly service, and a marvelous time. What more do you need except, well, maybe to put on your hat, look out into the late western sky, grab the reins, and ride like a legend into the sunset.
I'm talking again with Billy Presnell, who is with the Tulsa Convention Bureau. And Billy, could you tell me a little more about Tulsa?
Yes, Pat. The STTI in Space show is scheduled for the Convention Center in downtown Tulsa. We have just recently, in the last year, expanded our exhibit space to over 102,000 clear span square feet. We're really excited about the show coming to the city. Our downtown area is completely revitalized and alive. A lot of downtown areas are suffering, have in the past few years. Downtown Tulsa is not suffering at all. We have a good downtown marketing effort going on. In fact, we like to call ourselves the Tulsa Convention Community in the downtown area. We have 4 hotels that are within walking distance, within a 6-block area of the Convention Center, where people will be staying for the STTI Space show. Those 4 hotels are connected to the Convention Center by what we jokingly call the yellow brick road. They're really red brick, but we do follow the yellow brick road when we want to get to the Convention Center from any of those 4 hotels. In addition to the yellow brick road, we have a trolley system, a shuttle system in the downtown area where people and convention delegates can ride the trolley. They're San Francisco-style motorized trolleys where they can travel from any of those 4 hotels to the Convention Center Monday through Friday, and on the weekends too, with a limited schedule for no charge.
Okay.
One of the things, another thing that I love about downtown Tulsa, and I work in office in downtown Tulsa, is there's lots of shopping. There are lots of things to do. I think there are somewhere around 35 or 40 restaurants within the downtown area. And for a city the size of Tulsa, that's quite a number. We're proud of that. Shopping in the Westin, the Williams Center, the Westin Hotel Williams Center complex at the Forum has an ice skating rink, about 18 restaurants in that complex with the movie theater, and quite a bit of activity in the downtown area.
And Tulsa, the metropolitan area, is about 3/4 people?
The metropolitan area is right around there.
And people can look forward to the convention in Tulsa from June 21st to the 23rd.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Sure.
Billy, nice talking with you. Thanks for
you.
joining us on Satellite Showtime. If you have any questions or comments about Satellite Showtime, please contact us at Nova Video Productions, Box 637, Highway 14 East, Richland Center, Wisconsin, 53581. And our phone number is 608-647-4246. On next week's program, we'll take you to Las Vegas again, where we will introduce you to a whole new group of people and tell you about a couple of groups you might be interested in joining. Also, we'll continue with the next segment of Satellite Preview 85. Until then, good night.